In this video, I'm going to go over with you guys how to do a works cited page and also how to cite your sources in your paper. So first, I just want to go over, and this document is also in Schoology for you to refer back to. But what is a works cited page? A works cited page is the name that MLA gives to a bibliography. So it's a listing of all the sources you cited in the body of your paper. So you should have at least 3 sources in your paper. So your works cited page should have at least 3 of the sources. So here's just some things to think about when you're creating the page. It's always going to be the last page of your essay, and you should type the words works cited at the center top of the page. Each entry should be complete and accurate. And then you can click this link to see some more examples of what that looks like, but I'm going to show you some in just a second. Each entry reads like one long sentence, and that means that it doesn't matter where the second line begins in an entry. It begins on the second line only because you ran out of room on the first line. So the second and subsequent lines are always indented 5 spaces. And I'll show you that in just a second. The sources are listed alphabetically by the first word or name of the entry. The first word or name should be what you use in your parenthetical citation. And that parenthetical citation is when you actually put your quote into your paper. That's the name that you put behind your quote. And I will show you that in just a second as well. So here's an example of the works cited page. So this is what they mean by the indenting the second line. So here's the last name of the source, okay, first and last name. Then you have your title, and then where it comes from, year. And so you can see how their works cited page is in alphabetical order, okay. So that's kind of what it looks like. And then if you have more information to write in your source, like this is one whole source right here, then that's when you indent 5 spaces here. Okay. Okay, so a parenthetical citation is when you put a direct quote in your text. So this is how it looks in the text of your paper. This is just an example. So you have the quote, direct quote, and then you put the last name of the author in parentheses here, and then the page number that you got it from. So you're probably going to use paragraphs since you're going to be probably getting your sources on websites. So you would put the paragraph number right here instead of the page number. Okay, so you can also do an indirect quote, which means that you just paraphrase what the author is saying, and an example of that is right here. So it's not like exactly a direct quote like this one. They paraphrased it, but they also still gave credit to the author because it was still their facts and their ideas. So even if you use the same information, you still need to cite where you got that information from, even if it's not a direct quote. Okay, so these are just some examples of common forms of sources for citation. You're most likely going to use the website, online database, so articles, or the internet website. So this shows you exactly how to cite your sources for your works cited page. And so you can find all of this information on the website. You should be able to do that. And so you just there's an example here for what it should look like from a website. And then you have like last name, first name, title of the article. And so as long as you follow this, you should be good. And then here's an internet website. And then, so another idea for citing your sources is there's a bunch of websites where you can plug in your website and it should make the citation for you. You just need to make sure that it looks like this. So even if you use these websites, sometimes they can't find everything, so you might have to go back and find some of the information. Okay, so I want to talk one more time about the in-text citations. So you can just have a quote starting with the quotation marks, okay? Another way to do this is by introducing the quote, and I'm going to go over to another document I have. Rather than just having like the actual quote right there, you can introduce the quote by saying, according to Smith, and then have the quote there. Or the researcher mentions that, and then have the quote. There's a whole ton of ways that you can introduce a quote. It tends to help your paper flow a little bit better if you introduce it in this way rather than just having the quote smack dab in the middle of your paper. So I would suggest that you introduce your quotes this way by introducing the author suggests or the author states or in this particular year, and then have the quote. And one more thing just to remember as you're doing the quotes is you need to make sure that after you do the whole quote, you have in parentheses the author's last name, and the paragraph number or page number, parentheses, and then a period at the end. This is exactly what it should look like in your paper. So this should help you include your sources tomorrow when you write your paper from your outline. So if you have any questions while you're doing that, just refer back to this particular video or this particular worksheet on Schoology. If you're confused about how to do an in-text citation, how to do your works cited page, how to include your sources in your paper at all. Have a great rest of your day.